In this video, I'll show you the full melee progression in Terraria, from the very start of the game all the way to the Wall of Flesh. As a melee character, your very first upgrade should be a broadsword. Never use the short sword you spawn with, it only stabs in one direction and will get you killed quickly. Instead, craft a wooden broadsword right away, and if you find iron or lead, upgrade as soon as possible. If you're lucky in caves, you can also grab a spear or even a trident. Both of these give you so much better range and make early combat much easier. For armor, anything is better than nothing. At the start, even a full set of cactus armor from the desert can give you extra defense and a small damage bonus. Later, focus on iron or lead armor, and if you gather enough gold or platinum, craft a full set before making your first bosses. The defense makes a huge difference when your tank hits up close. Accessories are also very important for survivability. Early on, keep an eye out for shackles from zombies, which give you free defense. Hermes boost or cloud in a bottle can save your life by giving you mobility, and a band of regeneration will slowly heal you during fights. Together, these upgrades will make sure you survive the dangerous early game as a melee fighter. Once you've got some basic gear, it's time to prepare for your first real challenges: King Slime and Eye of Cthulhu. For melee weapons, you'll want something stronger than wood or iron. A gold or platinum broadsword works great at this stage, but if you're lucky, the enchanted sword is even better. Spears like the trident or the rotten fork can also help, since they let you keep a bit of distance while still playing melee. For armor, you should be in at least gold or platinum gear by now. The extra defense will let you tank a few more hits, which is very important in these fights. Before you summon either boss, build a simple arena, place a few long platforms in the air, spaced so you can jump between them easily. Add a couple campfires and torches for better vision and passive health regeneration. This setup doesn't take long to build, but it makes the fights much safer. Against King Slime, stay mobile. He can teleport if you're too high above him. Use a broadsword or spear and focus on avoiding being trapped by the smaller slimes. Against Eye of Cthulhu, Jester's Arrow are a strong option if you've been using ranged, but as a melee fighter, stay close during the first phase when it shoots minions. Then, keep dodging when it transforms into its faster form. Your higher defense will let you survive the hits, but don't rely on tanking. Movement is still key. After beating your first bosses, the next big power spike for melee comes from World's Evil Biome, either Corruption or Crimson. This is where you'll find some of the best early melee gear. In a Corruption world, breaking Shadow Orbs gives you a chance to get the Ball hurt. This flail is one of the strongest Pre-Hardmode weapons because it can hit multiple enemies at once and deal constant damage as it swings. If you're in Crimson world, smashing Crimson Hearts can drop the Rotted Fork. It's a spear with great piercing damage, perfect for hitting groups of enemies or bosses like the Brain of Cthulhu. Your armor also takes a huge step forward here. Farming either the Eater of Worlds or the Brain of Cthulhu lets you craft Shadow Armor in Corruption, or Crimson Armor in Crimson. Both sets give you solid defense, but Shadow Armor increases your melee speed and movement, while Crimson Armor boosts your life regeneration. Either way, they're amazing for a melee tank build. Don't forget about accessories too. For the Corruption, you can get the Worm Scarf, which reduces all damage you take by 70%. That's one of the best defensive items in the entire game. In the Crimson, you can get the Panic Necklace, which increases your movement speed when you get hit. Not as tanky, but still very useful for survival. Together, these weapons, armors, and accessories make your character much stronger and ready for mid-game bosses. Once you clear your evil biome, the next step in your melee journey is exploring the dungeon and the jungle. Both of these areas have some of the strongest gear you can get before hard mode. In the dungeon, the weapon you're looking for is the Muramasa. This sword swings incredibly fast and doesn't require auto swing mods. You can just hold down the attack button and shred through enemies. It's the must-have for upgrade for any melee build. From the dungeon, you should grab the Cobalt Shield. This accessory is one of the best defensive items in the entire game because it completely removes knockback. For a melee attack, that's essential. You'll be able to stand your ground in fights without being pushed around by every enemy that hits you. Meanwhile, in the jungle, there are two melee weapons worth hunting for. The first is the Blade of Grass, a slow but very powerful sword with high damage. The second is the Amazon, a yo-yo that's surprisingly strong for pre-hard mode and gives you some safe range while still counting as melee damage. With the Muramasa from the dungeon, the Blade Grass, and Amazon from the jungle, and the Cobalt Shield in your accessory slot, your melee tank build is starting to feel unstoppable. At this point, you'll have the defense knockback resistance and weapons to handle nearly anything before the hard mode. The Queen Bee is an optional boss, but she gives you melee players some really strong rewards. One of the best drops is the Beekeeper Sword. It's a fast weapon, and every swing releases bees that attack your enemies. The extra damage and distraction from the bees can really help in tougher fights. If you're playing on Expert or Master mode, Queen Bee also drops the Hive Pack. This accessory boosts all bee-related weapons, making the Beekeeper Sword even stronger. It's not required for progression, but it's a great bonus if you take time to farm it. Overall, the Queen Bee isn't mandatory, but for melee players, especially tanks, her drops add extra damage and survivability that make the rest of the pre-hard mode easier. Once you're ready to tackle the underworld, it's time to prepare your melee tank build for the ultimate pre-hard mode challenge, the Wall of Flesh. The first step is farming Hellstone. With Hellstone bars, you can craft Molten Armor, which is absolutely best armor for melee tank in pre-hard mode. It gives you high defense and survivability to face the toughest enemies below. For weapons, the Fiery Greatsword is your go-to choice. Its massive damage and long reach make it perfect for tanking through mobs and bosses. If you've gathered all the ingredients, you can even craft the Knight's Edge. This sword combines several powerful pre-hard mode weapons into one, giving you unmatched melee damage. Accessories are just as important as your armor and weapons. Make sure you have Obsidian Shield from knockback immunity, and Band of Regeneration for passive healing, and mobility items like Hermes Boots or Cloud in a Bottle. If you're in Corruption World, keep the Worm Scarf. In Crimson, the Panic Necklace is a solid alternative. Together, these upgrades make your melee tank nearly unstoppable in the underworld. Now comes the ultimate pre-hard mode challenge, the Wall of Flesh. As a melee tank, preparation is everything. First, build your arena, make a long flat bridge across the underworld, add campfires and heart lanterns along the way. These will give you passive healing during the fight and help you survive longer. For weapons, stick with your strongest melee options. The Fiery Greatsword is an excellent for close combat. But if you manage to craft the Knight's Edge, that's even better. It combines several powerful swords into one and deals massive damage. Molten Armor is still your go-to set. The defense and bonus stats let you tank multiple hits without dying. Pair with your essential accessories, the Obsidian Shield, Band of Regeneration, and mobility items, and you'll have the survivability to focus on attacking. Strategy-wise, as a melee tank, your goal is to stay close to the Wall of Flesh, swing continuously while dodging smaller enemies and laser attacks. Don't just stand still, mobility is still key, even for a tank. Use the bridge to move freely, keep your health topped with potions, and let your high defense do the work. With the right setup, you can defeat a Wall of Flesh, finally unlock hard mode. That's a full guide to Terraria pre-hard mode with Molten Armor and Knight's Edge. You're ready to enter hard mode.